Hi, so in this video we're gonna take a look at a few MPV player scripts that I wrote. But before we jump into talking about the actual scripts, I wanted to say a few words about some previous videos that I made about MPV player. So I'm going to post this video on my channel called Mindful Technology, but I also have another channel which is about language learning, which is called Linguistic Mind, and I made 2 tutorials about MPV player on that channel a while back. So if you want an introduction to how to use MPV player, and I go quite in depth into a few things, here's like some topics that I cover in the first tutorial and in the second one. So yeah, you can take a look at those videos. And what I'm gonna do here, since I'm basically moving from like posting tech related content on my linguistics channel, I'm moving it to the Mindful Technology channel, but these 2 videos will stay where they are right now. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make a playlist on my Mindful Technology channel which will include these 2 tutorials as the first and the second video, and this one is going to be the third, and so on. So that's how I'm going to organize it. So basically, yeah. And also, if you're a language learner, take a look at the Linguistic Mind channel. I have a few videos posted there, and yeah. But I'm planning to basically put more content related specifically to languages on that channel, and then move all the tech related stuff on the Mindful Technology channel. So that's that. Now let's move on to the main topic of this video, which is the scripts that I wrote. So this is the GitHub repo for them, and here is an overview of what scripts are included. So I'm going to split this, talking about these scripts, into several videos. Like in this one, I'm going to talk about basically how to configure the scripts, just like cover a few points that are relevant for all of them. Is how to configure them and how to change key bindings. And in the next videos, I'm going to go over the specific scripts in this list over here. So I also realized that I should probably explain how to install the scripts. So in the repo, in the main README, there is a section called installation, and all the instructions are here. So basically, just to show it to you, you can copy this command git clone and then the address pointing to this repo, and then you can just paste it in the terminal and run it. I'm not gonna actually run it because I already have the repo, but this is how you do it, and it will just like copy the contents of this entire repo onto your computer. And then the second step is to go into your .config mpv scripts folder. So over here in this top panel, I have the actual repo, so that's the same as what we have here on GitHub. So once you cloned it, you'll have these files on your computer as well, and then you also need to open this folder. So change directory to home.config mpv scripts. If there is no scripts folder there, you just create it. And if I list the contents of that folder, you can see that I have these scripts over here as well. But basically, there's 2 ways you can do it. You can either copy the script files from the repo, or you can symlink them. The advantage of symlinking them would be that, like, if I update the scripts, you can just like keep the repo on your computer, and then you can just just run git pull, and that will pull all of the changes that were made, and so you can just like update the scripts more easily in this way. So if I list, if I run lsl over here, you can see that these are symbolic links pointing to my to another directory on my computer where I have that repo. So that's how you can do it as well, or you could just copy those files. That would work too. So yeah, and all of the instructions on how to either symlink or copy them, either all of them at once with a single command, or you can also copy or symlink individual scripts. Like all these instructions are, you can find them over here in this installation section. So let's take a look at one of those scripts, like for example this one. In every so these links point to these folders in the repo, and in every folder I have a separate README file for each script. And there's an options section, and there's a key binding section in those README files if that script has any options or key bindings. So you can read the instructions here on how to set the options, but I'm going to go over it right now in this video so that it's a bit clearer, and I can show it to you right away. So let's actually use this clock.lua script instead for this example, because it's easier. I'm going to close the one that I opened just before. Let's talk first about how to set the options on the command line. So to set the options on the command line, you use this --script opts option of the MPV player. And I'm going to be using this show on start option as an example. So let's first open a video. I have this folder with several example videos here, and I'm going to be using like this open data video. So if I open it,
Open data, explain.
the video starts playing, here's so I press shift / or basically the question mark, I can show the clock, and then if I press that key again, the clock gets hidden. So by default, you can see that show on start is false. So let's pass an option to that script to make the clock appear right away. So you go --script opts equals, and then you need to pass a script identifier, which is always specified in this line over here. The README files are formatted in the exact same way for each script on this list. So you need this identifier. In this case, it's just clock, and then dash, and then you put the option name, which is show on start, and then equals true. If you want to pass more options, you put a comma and then put the next option in the same format. So identifier, then option equals value, and so on. So now if I open the video,
Open data, explain simply.
right, I made a small mistake. I forgot that, like, to pass true, you actually have to say yes instead. So it's yes or no. Like if it's true or false, then you don't say true or false on the command line, or like in the config file, which I'll cover in a second. You pass yes or no. So if I pass yes,
Open
the
data
clock
explained
appears
simply. Every
on
second we
when you
create huge
open up
amounts of
the
data. Some see
the
just
player.
a lot of numbers.
So that's how you pass options to scripts on the command line. This works exactly the same for all of the scripts. So if I open up something else, there will be different options, but the format remains the same. So that's how you can set them, just like basically for any individual launch of the player. But if you wanted to configure your script like to permanently have those options set to something other than the default value, you can create a configuration file as well. So that's the other way to set options. And the instructions for the config file are over here in this line, on this line. So basically you need to create a file in this .config, home.config mpv script opts directory, then call the file the same as this identifier. So in our case it'll be clock and then .conf. So let's create that file, .config mpv script opts clock.conf. And so I didn't have that config over there, so right now it's a new file which is and it's empty, and the option was show on start equals yes. So again, like yes and no stand for true and false respectively. So if I set that option over there and now I save that file and close it, now the config file is in place, and now I don't have to set anything on the command line. If I just open the player, the clock appears. So the player read the value of that option from the config file. So I'm gonna go ahead and delete that file because I don't need it. So this is basically how you set options, and this applies for all of these options. Now for key bindings, it's very simple. You set the key bindings. If you want to change, so all the default key bindings are listed in this table. So like again, if I open some other, let me open the tab that I opened previously for this copy subtitle .lua script. In the key bindings section, it has like a few key bindings, and you can see what the default binding is. So if you want to change that default key binding, you can do so. You can do that in the input.conf file. So that's home.config mpv input.conf. So let's open that home.config mpv input.conf, and basically I already have a few key bindings set here for other scripts. Let me see. Yeah, but that they're using slightly different formats. So like, let me just so the format that you need to use for these scripts are the key name, then script-binding, and then the name of this key binding. So basically, let me remap that to, I don't know, like a plus sign or something, just as an example. Script, what was it? Script binding, and so this is the name of that key binding that we need to pass here. So script binding clock show hide, and then we save and close the file and open up the player again.
Open data.
So if I press the plus sign, now it's remapped. So you can see that, but I'm pressing the plus sign. So that changed the key binding. one thing that is good that I just thought of this is so let me see. You can see what each key is mapped to if you pass some special options to the MPV player. But I already have like a what is called a profile created for that. So if I can yeah, I already have them set as a profile over here in my mpv.conf file. And let me see if I can find that. Yeah, over here at the bottom, input test. So like if you set these options, input test, force of window, and idle, then you'll be able to just so if I run it like this, force window, forgot what it was, so input test and idle. Is that what it was? Yeah, okay. So this is very convenient because now the player will open, but whatever key you press, you can see the key binding. It also gets printed in the terminal here. Like you can see that I pressed plus and it outputs some text in the terminal. But also in the player's window itself. So if I press plus, you can see that it's bound to clock show hide. So what I just did, come on, what's happened here? What I just did with this key binding, so it's bound to plus, but the question mark shows. So yeah, I kind of forgot about this, but basically the old key binding will stay there. So if you want to disable it, you can see that it's still bound to clock show hide, the question mark. So if you want to just like get rid of that, you can go into the same input.conf file and you can just say question mark ignore, and that will ignore that key. Or you can of course set it to something else, but if you just want it to do nothing, then you just set it to ignore. And then you can like if I open it right now, it says that that first line over there says that it's set to ignore, and then the second is script binding to that clock script. So so that's that. And yeah, like I also created a profile for, like, if you want to have this input test, if you don't want to remember like all of these options, what I did there is I created this profile called input test, and I put all these options in that profile so that I can just go -- profile equals input tests instead, and then I get the same thing. So that's that. Let me get rid of those key bindings that I made, because I don't need those. Okay, so this is basically it for when it comes to setting options and the key bindings. So again, on the command line you use -- script opts, then identifier -option equals value, or you can create a config file in home.config and pv script opts then call the file with the scripts identifier .conf, and then in that file you you put the options in this format, option equals value. There's also some links to MPV manual here, which you can take a look at if you want to learn more about this this format. And so for key bindings, the way you remap them is you go into home.config mpv input.conf, and you set them by using first the key, then script-binding, and then the name of the key binding, which is listed in this table over here. And the table lists all of the default key bindings for each individual script. So yeah, thanks for watching. In the next video, I'm gonna start covering individual scripts in this repo. So if you're interested, go ahead and watch the next video, and I hope you found this valuable, and I'll see you in the next one.